a Pete Primeau fan.
Thank you for having me.
Your fans are like...
What an honor to be here, Pete. You're a legend. You're a rock star.
I'm a legend in my own mind, said my wife.
If I can do it, anybody can do it.
I'm Mr. Selling from the Heart. What's this guy, Larry Levine, going to teach me about selling from the heart?
You are one of the most generous and authentic people around. And I think that's why you and your show are so attractive to people.
Welcome to the Pete Primeau Show and Win the Weekend at the same exact time. It is episode 240, and there will be no show on Labor Day. So we are doing it on Friday. We'll give you a peek behind what we do every Friday, and we're just going to pay the bills real quick, and then we're going to be off to the races. And we have 9 guests that will help answer your questions and give you some tips to have the best Labor Day weekend ever. So without a further ado, if you haven't bought my book, Sell a Million, what are you waiting for? 101 tips for furniture and mattress store owners, marketing tips primarily, a few sales tips. If you want a book on sales, this is it. Miles and miles of retail selling greatness. As a matter of fact, we have Scott Vaughn is here. Brent Batterman is here. They are both authors in this book, along with 8 others. So you've got Jeff Janakovo, Chris Tahaney, Justin Trumbo, Mark Klingenberg, Keith Castanguy, Mel Opp, Randy Thompson, and Steve Carnes all have chapters in this book. It's a great book. I'm super proud of it. Over 2 million miles traveled in over 43 years. And I've gotten a lot of really, really nice compliments. For you sales managers that have to do a weekly sales meeting, you've got 3 years worth of sales meetings here in this book. So have at it. And without, my producer's sleeping. He doesn't realize that he's got to like squirrel me. There he goes. So thank you to Steve, and thank you to Greg for sponsoring the show. If you don't belong to Mattress Industry Network group, what are you waiting for? Learn how to build, market, sell, and succeed in today's ever-changing marketplace. If you ever have felt alone and you don't like that feeling, join this group. I believe over 2,500 strong. Learn how to build, market, sell, and succeed in the mattress industry. Don't have to do it all by yourself. Hit that QR code. Join the group. It's 100% free. And one more super important. If you have not been to Scott Vaughn's masterclass and Scott Bidwell's masterclass, you have to go. It is a in-person event, and September 28th, 29th, and 30th. It's going to be in Nashville, Tennessee, which is one of my favorite cities. But above and beyond that, what I like the best about this, fly in to the airport, take the escalator into the hotel, and you're done. No Lyft, no Uber, no taxi. And the best part of this, yes, you're going to get Scott's over 20 years of experience, but more importantly, you're going to form a tribe. Your fellow attendees, you're going to have friends for life that you stay in touch with, that you will form your own mastermind. And, several of our guests here have been to the masterclass. Marnie, Fawad, Tim, have all been to it. And I hope I'm not missing anybody. It's something that you really have to join to understand it. And I will tell you this. There should be a spot for a code. Put in capital PETE 2025, save $200. And, don't miss this, guys. Don't miss it. Masterclass is important. Everybody should join. And without a further ado, let's get started. So we're going to be messing around with this screen, trying to keep everybody going here. We've got Brent Betterman, Tara Day, Chris Long, Scott Vaughn, Tim Clanky, Fawad Savari, Chris Long, and Marnie Kirby all here in the house. Thank you, guys. I know you guys are all super busy, and I'm glad that you're here. Hey, Ray. Ray, you made it.
I did. I feel like you're guaranteed that I'm going to get busy. So
Yes, guaranteed. I can tell you right now that Tara's very happy because we are starting to approach balance. But hopefully everyone just goes away because you guys get too busy. So one thing I wanted to lead off with, and then we're going to get started. I remember as a very young salesman, somebody needs to mute themselves. As a very young salesperson, and I was not having success, and I had been a successful student in college. I had been a successful athlete, football player in college, and I got taken to the woodshed. And basically I was asked, like, when you go into your employers, like, what do you do before you go in? And I go, I walk through the door. And my mentor said, no, you don't. You pretend like you own this and you look for litter. And if you find any litter, you pick it up and you put it away. And then when you get inside the store, you pretend like that's your store. And someday it will be your store if you treat it right. You're never gonna get to second base if you don't get your foot off of first base. I'll never forget that. I was in tears, absolute tears, because I'd taken pride in being a student. I had taken pride in being a football player, but here I was on one of my first jobs out of school, and I was not taking pride. I was not taking initiative. And guys, you guys have all heard this story. My business partner of just about, I think, 20 years, either 19 or 20 years. So if he's watching, he'll get mad at me. Nick Marcos, who most of you guys know. The reason Nick was hired by me is, number one, me and him just constantly ran into each other. I'm like, are you the only freaking rep that works? And the second biggest reason, me and Jenny, we were with Tony Amato late at night as he closed, and we were just talking. I said, I really need to hire someone, Tony. And he goes, well, I'll tell you who you need to hire right now. And I go, tell me who I need to hire. He goes, you need to hire Nick Marcos. And I go, okay, tell me why. He said, because he treats my store like it's his. I said, well, explain that to me. He goes, I've watched him pick up litter outside of my store. He's never said a word, never came in and said, I did this. He just does it. But I see him do it, and I don't say anything to him. I said, so he's like you, Pete, and I think you guys would be a good pair. And he was right. So that's my talk about initiative. If you are a new salesperson, don't be like me. Get the lead out of your butt, pretend like you own the place, and really, really treat where you work like you do own it. And take some initiative, because that's what it takes to be successful in today's world. So with that, we're going to talk about what it takes to be successful on Labor Day. And, Brent, I asked you to come on, and there's, you've got a whole checklist of stuff, but I'd like you in particular to share, this kind of starts like a week ago, right? It doesn't start on Friday before Labor Day. Like a week ago, there's some things that people needed to start doing. Can you talk about that a little bit? And then we'll just kind of go around and everybody will chime in.
So kind of like that pregame, if you will. It's funny because you must have saw my notes because I have them right there. Pregame, I think there can be a couple things that you would want to start a week before and go all the way up to, let's call it 10 o'clock today, if you will. What I look at when it comes to pregame is one, absolutely. You should, I believe every day, especially during Labor Day, which we call the Super Bowl of mattress sales, is go out in front of your store, look at your store and go, put on the glasses, if you will, of what the customer is going to see. And a lot of times, if you go to your store every day, sometimes you kind of miss things. So walking around the store, make sure it's clean is so easy, but I'm telling you, it's important to do that. Second thing is make sure your open sign's on. Again, Brent, that's a no-brainer, but I promise you, when I go to retailer, just going to Best Buy the other day, I saw retailers during the day, their open sign was not on. Does that cost them business? Maybe, maybe not. But again, it's just about being prepared. It sets you up with the right mindset to take care of that customer when they first walk in your store. The other thing is make sure that your road signs are facing the right direction, because if they're not, cars driving by, they're not going to be able to read them. So those are small, simple things. But the key that I would probably want to talk about is continue to practice and get warmed up. The easiest time to make a sale is right after sale. So don't practice on your own paycheck. And when we think about sports, I always think of like a kicker, it's football kicking off this weekend, no pun intended. But like, could you imagine if the kicker's like, I'm not going to warm up. I'm not probably going to be in the game until the fourth quarter. And if they get to the fourth quarter and miss that field goal to win the game, you're like, why didn't you practice? I feel the same way we have so many amazing people, so many amazing associates. Practice, be warmed up. You might have been doing this for 20 years, but still get the time to warm up. Practice. Call one of your coworkers. Just walk through the greeting, walk through selling the sale, talking about the big events and some of the key features that you have in the mattress. I'm telling you, those simple little sales tips and techniques on getting warmed up before the customer comes in your store is key. The last thing I will share is you should have the same energy that marketing, your website, and your roadsides have when the customer comes in the store, because you're making a promise. This is Labor Day. This is our biggest sale of the year. And if they're reading online and they're hearing all these ads, Labor Day, great sale, 50% off, and then they come into your store and you don't match that same excitement and intensity. I'm not saying you have to be loud like me, but be excited. And I know Labor Day is kind of easy to do that with because it is such a big holiday, but a couple key things to do is one, smile, make a friend before you try to make a sale, and brag about the sale. And the key is to call it your Labor Day sale, because when you give the sale a name, it has a beginning and an end, and it has this excitement that the timing is right. They came at the right time and they're going to buy a great mattress and save money.
Brent, I love that. Make a friend before you make the sale. I absolutely love that.
It's so easy, but sometimes we get caught up and we know it, but do we do it consistently? And the other thing that when we talk about practice, here's a great way. Call some of your amazing sales associate, your teammates, and ask what they do, because we're going to be busy. It's Labor Day. You're going to see multiple ups. So how do you continue to have that same great customer experience when there's multiple ups? And how do you continue to do that?
All right. Who wants to jump in?
All right, I'm going to jump in. Just because I'm off on that. It reminds me of so many years ago when I had a boss that always said the same thing: a check up from the neck up before you take that next up. And I think about it all the time now with priming and getting yourself in the right frame of mind, whether it be the last one that was a good up or the last one was a bad up. It doesn't matter. The next one doesn't know. They don't care. They care that you care about them. And so that really gets me thinking about just that. And then prior to that, the details. I've always been a stickler for details. I noticed the same thing about the lights being off. One of my pet peeves is 2 swinging doors and only one of them's unlocked. Makes it harder for the man to open the door for his wife if both doors aren't open. So sometimes the little things set the frame, set the mindset, both of the customer and of the salesperson. So I love what he's talking about.
Awesome.
I'll jump in.
So
weather's going to be beautiful in Cincinnati this week. So, probably not a bad idea, here or where you're at, have your front doors propped open, make it even more inviting. And then, as far as checkup, one thing that I made sure that, and we do this all the time anyways, but are all your adjustable base remote batteries, are they working? Are they demo ready? You know, do the head and foot both work? There's nothing more embarrassing than getting in front of a product and customer loves the mattress and you go to demo and it doesn't work. So,
yeah.
One thing I would chime in on, it would be just make sure that you're like Brent said, like you got to make sure that you're having, like your windows say the same thing with the marketing saying. The last thing you want to do is make sure that your sales tags don't reflect what you're saying or don't reflect what our vendors are saying, right? So if a customer's, interested in whatever brand and they go on the brand's website and see a price, or they go to a competitor and see a price, and they go into your store and you're $300 more on your tag, the trust is completely gone. They think that you're not participating or you're trying to get over them. So make sure that the tags are 100% accurate to whatever you're promoting. And the sale starts in the parking lot before they enter the parking lot. And then make sure that it follows through all the way till checkout.
Awesome. Thanks, Fawad. Talking about tags, reviewing the sales, right? With the salespeople, especially when Tempur-Pedic has multiple offers and they can't take advantage of every one of them. They get to select certain ones. You've really got to coach up your salespeople on how to handle that in a way that makes a customer feel valued and that your salesperson is up to speed and competent. So that's, tags is huge. Chris Nelson, come on. You got to have something, brother. Oh, he's like, nope, you're not going to talk to me like that. Tara, you are never at a loss for words. Give us something. How do we make this the best Labor Day ever? Tara, can you hear me?
I think she's on mute.
Can't hear you. You're muted somehow.
You're muted, excitement, and I looked in my windows and I was like, is that, can you hear me or no?
We can hear you now. Yeah.
Can you hear me at all? It keeps going in and out. No?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you. Now we can't. All right, Scott, you're gonna have to jump in here and save us.
Maybe my internet's working. I hope. I've been skipping around a little bit too. So I would jump in with, you talked about preparation. We started preparing in October because we planned the whole year in October. And what is it? Zig says you're born to win. You must plan to win, prepare to win, then and only then can you expect to win. And so we planned starting last year, and then we started preparing over a month ago. We shot commercials. Then
on the call
2 weeks ago, the sales kind of started. So we've already got yard signs and banners and all that done, and the marketing team has already done all that. So now it's up to the salespeople. The most important part, we've done all the marketing to get somebody in the door. Now, like Brent said, you got to have enthusiasm. And it's like every day, it doesn't matter if it's Labor Day or April the 13th. It doesn't matter. Every day you should greet every customer with that smile he talked about. And you should have the same enthusiasm. And we have a saying at work, today is the best day in history to buy a new mattress. Today. And so we start every morning with a meeting, and we do that. And that's Seth Gibson, one of our guys. He's very enthusiastic about delivering that speech to everyone. And y'all have all been to my class. Almost everybody has. So y'all have all heard him do that. And it's very enthusiastic. And so that's how we start the day. So every customer deserves our best. Every customer. And when they drive up in the parking lot, you should say they could have bought in their underwear at home, but they drove by a lot of stores to come to me. They chose me. And so that is very important to think about. They chose me, and now I'm going to deliver the best experience I can deliver. It's game on. It's time to bring the funk, baby. Time to bring the funk, baby, with every single customer. And it doesn't matter if it's a holiday or not. I mean, yes, you should be pumped up for a holiday, but it doesn't matter if it's today, tomorrow, Monday, or Tuesday. It doesn't matter. You bring that enthusiasm with every customer because they deserve it. They deserve it. It's not about me. It's about them. They've got a problem. I'm going to fix it. I'm going to fix it. I'm not going to make Sleep Number fix it. I'm not going to make Mattress Firm fix it. I'm going to fix it. They come to me. So that's the kind of enthusiasm I'm going to bring every time. I'm going to go through processes that Brent and I both teach thoroughly, and we got to keep doing that. We have got to keep that up because, and like Brent said, most places I've shopped from Portland, Oregon to Miami this past year, and 95% of them I would not buy it, just being honest. Most of them don't bring the funk. They don't bring the enthusiasm. They don't bring anything. They look at you like you just interrupted their solitaire game. So you can have a leg up on all your competition if you'll just have some enthusiasm and thank them for coming in the door. Get their name, smile, and then go through a selling process and ask for the sale, and most likely you're going to get it. That's all I got.
I've got one quick question for you, Scott, in case we've got a new listener that hasn't listened in before. You shopped 100 stores. How many out of the 100 asked you for the sale before you left?
Hardly any. And I have a pretty compelling story too. So I usually use a good story. I always rent an expensive vehicle. I park it by the front door. I dress nice. And then they show me a $7.99 bed most of the time, maybe a $9.99. And then they don't even ask for the sale. I mean, if nothing else, ask them to buy the thing. They're not out kicking tires buying a mattress. And like Bob Munkle says, treat it like it's a water heater. When do people water heater shop? When they need a water heater. Only when they need a water heater. When do they mattress shop? Only when they need a mattress. And so you just got to assume the sale. You assume they're buying, not assume they're not buying. And I've had salespeople work for me that just assume they're not buying. I'm like, what else are they doing? What are they out doing? They're not kicking tires. This is not Corvettes you're selling. We're selling mattresses. So sell it. Ask for the sale. You're not helping them. You're actually wasting their time if you don't ask for the sale. You're wasting their time and yours if you don't at least ask for the sale every time.
If anyone wants a treat, you guys go to Happy Z's in Paducah right before they open, and you listen to those salespeople rev each other up. And I got to tell you, it's powerful. It's powerful. It's contagious. Everybody should do it. Everybody should have a brief, 5 to 10 minute sales meeting and get their people ready to go. Ray, what you got?
So this will be our really first big Labor Day sale. So we've been pretty small store up until this point, and we didn't really do a lot of big sales like that. So we've taken a lot of instruction from Scott and the rest of the group, and we're pumped. And I feel like we're ready. We put up extra balloons today, tried to make it match the advertising story as they've already talked about. So we're pumped. We've had a really good week so far, and we're ready to go.
You going to show us?
I can't turn my screen around enough to let you see anything. So it would be awkward and probably
Awesome.
unplug something.
We'll take some pictures and post it on the feed
Yeah,
later.
so we have a video walkthrough before we did balloons and things. I went through and did Blake did a speed tour of our store on Facebook a couple weeks ago, and it got a lot of traction. So I kind of did my version of a speed tour showing all of our Labor Day deals. And we actually had 2 customers come in yesterday just from watching that video.
That's great.
Yeah,
That's
so you can
great.
see the store through the video there.
And that's a page right out of Scott Vaughn's playbook.
Yeah.
That's great. Blake, I know last time I saw you on a video, you were sleeping, but when I saw you in the store yesterday, you were actually awake. So that part was good. Blake, what do you got to say, brother?
Okay, hold on. He's having some volume issues.
I'm sorry, Pete. I know this is live, and I'm trying not to screw it up, but I missed what you said.
So last time I saw you, you were awake as opposed to the time before in the video where you were falling asleep. What advice do you have for our people that are watching have a good Labor Day sale?
So I'm just a young whippersnapper. I don't have much to give, but I would say something that I'm going to try to implement this Labor Day that I've been trying to work on in general all around, but definitely to add it this weekend is something I probably learned at the Scott Vaughn Masterclass, and it was the little details. Not only, like I know we discussed, like remembering a name and then using their name makes them feel very special, but little details that they mention, hey, I don't like this, or I like this, and then mentioning that, like, hey, I know you mentioned earlier this, and then a lot of times you'll see people, oh, wow, he actually remembered that little detail. So that's something that I see a lot of success with, and I'm going to try to implement that this weekend.
Awesome. Thank you. And by the way, you have a lot to say.
Can we charge this?
Marnie, what you got?
Well, as you know, I moved to a new location this month. So this is counting as a first for Labor Day for me. The last location wasn't really moving as much. So, I want to mention as far as prep goes, I'm a member of MRT. I get on these calls on Fridays, and I follow the lead and the advice of the people in those groups because they're doing it, and they're doing it so well. So, I think it's important to join in on those things, follow the big leaders, and listen to what they're saying, and that's what I've been doing. So I was able to incorporate Labor Day planning in with kind of a grand opening-ish here, and so I've been working on that every day. And this week was fun. I went out and got my mini beverage fridge and all the beverages and some fun snacks here, and so I'm ready.
Awesome. And let us not forget that we flew in. Thank you to Randy Thompson. Randy would have been here, by the way. He fell at the county fair and ended up with a concussion yesterday. So but Randy flew an airplane that me and Marnie were the co-pilots, navigators, passengers, whatever you want to call us. I was holding on for dear life, scared out of my wits, actually. But we went to the master class in Paducah, Kentucky, and we learned a lot from Scott and bringing that stuff back in. And anybody that doesn't belong to MRT that's watching, you guys should join MRT for, what is it, $97 a month, guys? Something like that. It's stupid cheap, and Jeff gives a lot of great content there. So those are good call outs, Marnie. I appreciate you calling out the Friday calls and MRT and the masterclass as well. So let's every customer that walks through the door is looking for a solution today. You are the difference maker. Yes. Is this Tara or is this RJ? That's my question. Brent Batterman, the Dale Carnegie quote, a person's name is to that person the sweetest, most important sound in any language. And that is in Win Friends, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Which, if you have not read that book, I don't care whether you're 100 or you're 10, you should read that book. Everybody should read that book. It doesn't even matter if you're in sales. You should just read that book. We'd have a little better of a world if everyone read that book and applied its principles, right?
Hey, Pete, I want to hear what Fawad's got to say.
I do too.
About Labor Day.
I mean, it's the same thing, right? What Brent said, what Scott, what you said. We got to bring it every day. But man, these holidays, they make a difference, right? So you have to be mentally ready. So like if you're by yourself and you're a single store operation, you have to be mentally ready. Get there a little early, make sure you blow the balloons, get your signs out, get your mind ready, listen to some music, listen to whatever you do that gets you going. If you have 3, 4, 5, 6 employees, you got to make sure you start having a conversation with them like 3 days ago, but especially today. If you haven't spoke with your people, if you're not on the same page about what type that they should get enough sleep tonight, that they should be ready early in the morning, that they should have everything. So all that adds up to us having a great weekend. We got to have a good weekend. We have to be mentally ready because, like Scott said earlier, the customers are there because they want to buy and they have a problem that we have the solution. Are we going to fail them and let our competitor take care of it? Or are we going to help them out and make sure that we don't waste their time on this big weekend, right? And also, like Brent said earlier, your marketing has to result. Like I'm a big proponent of everywhere a customer turns, your message should be that, right? Like you have to scream that you're having a sale on your website, on your Facebook, on your Instagram, on anything that belongs to you, your personal Facebook, your personal LinkedIn. We should market ourselves out there and let everybody know that we're having a sale. We have 90 days between this event and our next event, which is Black Friday. So we have a long time to go between the two events, and we must win this weekend and this next week to make a difference for us, right? I've been doing this for 26 years now, and October is a rough month. So we got to make sure that we win whenever we're able to, right? We should win every day, but on these holidays, we should come out and bring the funk, like Scott says.
Should we tell them what's going on the 8th? Should we tell them, Fawad?
Yeah, sure. Your show.
Fawad's going to be on the Pete Primeau show on September 8th. Write that one down. Monday, September 8th. We are going to talk about his journey and what he's learned along the way. And I think you guys are going to find it absolutely fascinating. It's it's funny because it is to me the American success story that starts off on a little bit of a rocky start, but it gets better and better and better, right, Fawad?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I'm living the dream every day of my life, right? And I'm a big proponent of, and not a lot of people agree with me on this, but hard work. Like I'm not the smartest guy in the room, but I'll outwork everybody every day, and that's what I live by is. And if I don't know anything today, when we have a conversation, you better be ready because tomorrow I'm going to be an expert at it. Because I'm gonna put my head down and I'm gonna learn, and no one, and that's the immigrant mentality a little bit, right? Like, is I'm going to win, and if it takes me working 16 hours a day to win, I'll win. That's what I'm gonna do. And I think that's how a lot of us, like especially small businesses, a lot of if you're starting out, like I worked 6 days. I mean, like I'm 26 years. We've been around for 27 years now at Exclusive Furniture. But me and my brother Sam, we're gonna be out in the showroom floor this weekend. Like I'm gonna be out there. We're gonna make it. We're gonna motivate our team, and they're gonna see us working together on the floor, and we're gonna win together. So that's how I feel that leaders work together with the thing. I'm not a boss. I'm a leader. I'm a coach. I'm gonna make sure that we win together, and that's what everybody should do, in my opinion.
Anyone that is watching, you can submit a question and it will take priority to any conversation that we're having right now. We've got 10 people who are going to work on your problem. So anyone that's got a problem, a challenge in your business, or just a question, throw it in the box. Chris Stone, my producer, will pull it up. Guys, I want to talk about a high-class problem. All right. I wrote a chapter in my book called Slow Down to Sell More. When the floor breaks down and you want to just say hi to everybody and not go deep with anybody, one of the things that I always used to talk to my salespeople about is our sales process is our sales process, and we don't abandon it when it's a fast floor. There's a few things that we have to do to make sure that we capture all the traffic on the floor. And a lot of it has to do with having good manners and just being courteous, but we don't abandon our sales process. Who wants to chime in on that? Go ahead, Brent.
I don't have to be first. I'd love if someone else had something on that.
Oh, I thought you put your hand up.
I did. I just didn't want to, if someone else has something. So great question. And I love the pause to ponder. And there's a couple things because it gets busy. And here, like if I was on the sales floor, and I know some of you haven't got a chance to really know me, and this is coming from my heart. I truly believe this can set you apart and help you win at Labor Day. I'll put everything on, because if I was in the store right now and I started seeing customers, if it was one or two, I would do something very simple. It's so easy, we overlook it. And the key is I'd ask questions on questions about questions to really get understanding of what that customer is coming in, what's keeping them up at night, and really offer solutions. So if it was me, again, this may not be for everybody. I'm not here to change your process. We're right at the beginning of one of the biggest holidays of the year, but I would go and grab a piece of paper and I would fold it like a book. And when I was busier with a customer, I'd be like, hey, do you mind if I take a few notes? Because I love what I do. And I want to make sure I find the right matches for you. So I'm going to ask you a few questions to really zone in on what you need in my store to help you sleep better, because I have 45 different mattresses and we're going to make this shopping experience easy. And I'm going to give you 2 or 3 choices. I promise you are going to help you sleep better. So if you don't mind, I'd love to find out, when's the last time you got a great night's sleep? Tell me what kind of mattress you've slept on recently that you've just felt like you got a great night's sleep. And I would start asking those questions, and I'd ask questions on questions about questions. Let me give you a little bit more information. And I've seen this. I've traveled quite a bit recently, and we have these amazing managers, and they make this one mistake almost 100% of the time, and it breaks my heart. And they don't mean to, and they have good intention, but a customer's like, I hurt my back. It's been hurting for 3, maybe 4 years. And the sales associate, they're like, I want to take care of them. But they're like, great, let me show you Tempur-Pedic. Great, let me show you Purple. Like, they don't realize what they just say, versus pausing. Like you say, Pete, pause and say, I'm sorry to hear that. If you don't mind me asking, how did you hurt your back? What do you do to help relieve some of that pain? If you don't mind, I'm going to take a few notes. Oh, by the way, what's your first name? And I would write that down, because you're going to see multiple ups. And someone just said it earlier, and that's great. People want you to remember their name. So write it down. If you're like, I can't ever remember a name, like, if you have a pen and paper, just write it down. And then especially if you're going from customer to customer and you're busy, nobody's doing this. Nobody across the street is doing this. So if you said, Brent, how are you going to win at Labor Day? I would do this. I would be taking notes. I would be the person that listens. And here's what's interesting. I heard this the other day, and I apologize. This is like so fascinating. I was in church. I'm not going to preach, but I was in church, and they started talking about doctors and the key to listening. They're like, we have the most advanced medical engineer, all that stuff, that ever before. And what's interesting, one of the things that doctors are being trained on more than ever right now, and this is what I heard, is listening. I'm starting taking notes, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like what I do. And my wife like looks at me and is like, Brent, are you listening? I'm like, I am. I'm paying attention. I'm taking notes, because they found out that doctors that just pause and really listen to that patient are, I forgot the percentage, but more likely to give them the right solution to help them, whatever that is. And I was like, that applies to us, because sometimes I know I get so excited. I'm like, oh my God, I got to show you this. I got to show you this. I got to show you this mattress thing that goes up and down. But if I just pause and really ask them questions on questions, like, what's keeping you up at night? And really listen, and then give them a solution, they're going to buy from me, because they know I care. And when they know I care, they trust me for the solution that I'm going to recommend. Everyone's going to talk about a Labor Day sale, I believe. Most people are going to say, do you have a back problem or shoulder problems? But nobody's going to follow up and ask a true question, say, hey, I know your shoulder's been bothering you for a couple of years. I believe with this technology is going to help you sleep better. Go ahead and try it. Oh, by the way, I believe with this technology, from what you say with your shoulder, this pillow will really help you. You tell me. And just pause and listen.
Do you know what I'm laughing about? I'm watching Scott making notes and Fawad making notes. And there's some dummy somewhere that's going, well, duh, you should be doing that. But it's always the smartest guys in the room that want every little tidbit. And the guys that aren't even in the ball game, they dismiss everything. And it's just, it's one of the ironies in this life.
I've done it wrong. When I first started, I was so broke. Like, I had a mattress. Anybody that knows me knows, like, they go, oh, Brent, he used to sleep on the floor of the mattress zone. He was like so broke, because I just talked and talked and talked. I talked about coil count and all that. And then when I figured out, I'm telling, don't practice on your paycheck. Take my advice. Don't do it the wrong way. I've learned, unfortunately, by doing it wrong, but by just listening, nobody's going to walk you out of your store and be like, you know what, Pete, I'm not going to buy from Brent. He just listened to all of my challenges and what's keeping me up at night. And he was so patient with me, and he used my name. I don't think I'm going to buy today. Like, they never say that.
Mm-mm.
So this morning, so Brent spoke with our team, I think last 4th of July or last Labor Day or something, Brent. I had Brent jump on the call and said, like, Brent, I need you to talk to my people for 20, 30 minutes. Just pour it all in. And Brent did that. And this morning we had our team call with 120 employees. And I said what Brent said earlier. You got to make a friend before you make a sale. And you got to be smiling. Nobody can turn you down if you're smiling. And I learned that from him. You know, I've heard Brent speak 3, 4, 5 times, you know. And every time Brent's talking somewhere, I make sure I'm listening and taking notes, because the man's done it for a long time.
So
thank you.
Only we can see this, but I'm going to share this with the audience. And Scott Vaughn, don't get mad at me. Scott Vaughn says in our little private chat, it's our secret chat here, that you can't see in the audience, Brent's a friggin' genius. Love that dude. Yeah, absolutely. And 3 words that you said are so powerful. You tell me, to the customer, you tell me, when you seek their opinion and you value their opinion, and then you peel back that onion, another layer and another layer. When you go the extra layer that the salesperson down the street didn't go, guess what? You get the sale. You get the sale because you care more. So everybody's nodding. Go ahead, Chris. What you got?
So Brent and I have never met, but I think we followed the exact same path, maybe next to each other, behind each other. I'm not sure. But to start with what you said, I'm watching the movie just recently, F1. And Brad Pitt talks about his dad telling him that slow is smooth and smooth is fast. And it reminded me of my youth in selling mattresses and a brief little stint trying to race cars. And that the guys that were fast were going nice and smooth, and they didn't look fast. But the guys that were trying to push and get to the end and land the customer and features and benefits and close, they were the ones that took longer because it was harder. They skipped over the most important part. So to Brent's point in listening, if a doctor was to prescribe before they diagnosed, that's malpractice. And yet we do it in sales all the time. We try not to, but we're so rushing to get to that end that we skip that the most important part was in that discovery. It was in the beginning. And to the last point that all kind of goes together is that emotion is always before logic. People buy things emotionally, and then they look for the logic to justify the feeling that this is going to solve, this is going to do what I want it to do. And if you really do it well, sometimes they help you. They're asking you the questions, and you can kind of tell they're looking for the reasons to do this because this looks like the solution that fits, but it's only because you first figured out this is what they're trying to do. This is their goal. This is the outcome they're after.
Awesome. Great insights. Great insights. So the floor's breaking down. There's tons of people. You're trying to, you can basically wait on as many people as you want if you learn how to have super good manners and just ask permission. You're with a customer, give them some homework. If you're on an adjustable bed, it's perfect, especially if you've already gone through your presentation and you can say, hey, somebody just came in. As you can see, it's just me here. I need to say hi to them real quick, if it's okay with you. And if you do that well, if it's okay with you, they will say, of course, go ahead. And then give them the remote. Let them play with the remote. Give them some kind of homework to do, keep them involved, then go off and say hi to the people, get them started, and then excuse yourself away, bounce back. As long as you remember to acknowledge everybody on each end, and every time you break away, you can do that. I remember I had no customers. It was 8:00 at night. I was closing the store, and I didn't get home till 10:30-ish that night, maybe not even 11. I think I left the store at 10. And I had 6 sales and closed everybody I talked to. At one point, I had 4 customers at the same time. And basically, when it really, really breaks down super bad, it becomes a group sale. But guys, I want you guys to share your techniques. I've shared some of my dinosaur techniques that I use when the dinosaurs roam the earth. You share with me what the latest and greatest is.
I think you should have a process. First thing, it's not something you're probably going to fix today, but you should have a selling process that you go through every single time with every single customer. And the process, I got to say, the process takes the pressure off the salesperson, and it takes it off the customer as well. So, you always, I think Brent mentioned this, you make it easy. Hey, we've got an easy process to narrow it down from 45 beds to 1, or in Tim Clanky's case, 145 beds to 1. We can knock it down.
It's 155 right now.
Okay, 155. Didn't mean to underestimate there.
Yeah, Pete showed up yesterday with 5 more in the van.
So they're come in confused. And remember, a confused customer never buys. So we've got an easy process to narrow it down to the one perfect bed just for you, and sleep system. We're going to talk about pillows and adjustable base and all that. We're going to add in there, but we're just going to talk about mattress at first. And then we're going to make it easy. We're going to use financing. So if we get something a little higher price, you can utilize financing to make it affordable, because not everybody can afford a $10,000 mattress, but they can afford $200 a month. So we're just the easier you make it, the less complicated you make it, the easier it is on your salesperson and on the customer. And you're going to get a lot more sales. Closing percentage goes up. And all the people in this room know what it is. They know how it works and how to get people down to that one bed. But if you don't have a process, you just got a sea of rectangles out there, and it's like free for all. You just take them to your favorite one, which may not be the one that fits that person. So Get a process, get it down. You can come to my class and I teach our process start to finish, but, and it's very effective and it works for everybody in this room has been except two. So a lot of people have been to my class across the country, and it works no matter what market you're in, if it's metro or a small town like I'm in. So yeah.
Will you
Pete loves that discount. I don't like it as much as you do, Pete, but I want everybody to show up.
will you tell the story? I think it was the very first class, and there was this lovely woman, I believe she was from Alabama, and she kept insisting that her customers were different. Can you just share that story with everybody? Because I think it's really important.
She might be my biggest advocate in the whole country, but she said, my people won't, we're Southern, so she talks my language. My people won't pay no more than $7.99. The highest price bed I've ever sold is $9.99. So she goes through the class, she gets fired up, she calls her rep, and I tell her, I'm like, now don't be bringing in no $4,000 or $5,000 beds. You need to learn how to sell a $19.99 bed first. So I said, get a $19.99 bed and something higher than that. So she calls her rep from Paducah and says, give me a $19.99 bed and something higher. Well, a rep sends a $29.99 bed with the best adjustable base they had and slaps it on the floor. Guy comes in to look at recliners, and she goes and sells him a recliner, walks back by. They just put this bed out. Just put it out, or the two beds. So she said, you said your back was hurting. Just humor me. We just got this bed in. I haven't even laid on it myself, but I want you to try it. So she goes through, she shows him the adjustable base. We teach how to show adjustable bases. And then he gets off of it. He buys a $7.99 recliner, and he goes, okay, how much is it? She goes, $5,900. He said, okay, add that to the ticket too. And just like that, she became a believer like that. And now she's ripped out half her store, created a huge mattress gallery. And she said, I do about 4 of those a week, at least $5,000 tickets.
Wow.
In a town of probably 2,500 people.
Yeah.
So that's impressive. And the system works, the process works. And no matter if you're in a little town like that or big city like Clanky or Houston, where Fawad is.
There's something very special about her, because from the get-go, from the minute that class started, you challenged every assumption she had about retail sales. Yet she was still willing to try. And a lot of people, most people, they just won't try. And she tried, and she surprised herself. And so kudos to her. We touched on this, and I think we would be, I would be really, I don't know, I guess you would call it malpractice if we didn't dive into how do you introduce financing? How do we make sure our salespeople are on the same page as us? And let's talk about that. Let's have at it, guys.
Brent, you're the man at that. Let's talk about it, and I'll chime in after you. Well, I love financing.
So, I think the number is, and please look at your own business on what that looks like. But I've heard a number as high as 80% of power bases today are sold with financing. So if we know that most people use financing to buy a power base, and we know that a power base will actually help a person sleep better because it makes the mattress more comfortable. They got more options to sleep better and adjust their legs and all that stuff. So I always like to lead with it. And it's very soft. It's just when we're talking about the Labor Day sale, let them know we have financing, because most consumers today are looking for retail stores that have the best financing. It's sometimes more important than the name on the building. I know that kind of hurts. And then the brands that you carry in the store. So just let them know. They go, hey, right now, to let you know, right now is our biggest sale of the year. It's our Labor Day sale. And we have great financing. We have great financing from 0% from 6 months up to 5 years, and a no credit needed option. Short, easy, simple, somewhere at the beginning. I'm not saying welcome to the store. what's your FICO score? I'm not saying that at all, but I'm saying, is there an opportunity just to mention we have great prices on this brand. Oh, and by the way, we have amazing financing with our Labor Day. So we have great financing from 6 months up to 5 years and a no credit needed option. So when you let them know that you have it and you just sprinkle it in, I say it's like an entree. If you add too much pepper to an entree, it's going to ruin it. But if you lightly pepper on your entree, you'll enhance it. So you just lightly sprinkle financing into your presentation. Then somewhere down the presentation, they're going to ask you, well, how much that is. And this is my favorite statement. If you take one thing away, I would use this besides taking notes all the time. How much is this? Depends. Are you going to use your money or my money? Because if you use my money, it's only $125, and it's a complete sleep system, the pillows, the sheets, the mattress protector, the thing that goes up and down, and I can deliver as soon as tomorrow. Or if you want to use your money, it's $8,100, whatever's easier for you. And most people are like, wow, I didn't realize $125. That's less than a cell phone bill. Absolutely. Plus, you're going to get better sleep. That right there makes it easier for a consumer to purchase a mattress. And did you notice I said sleep system? We don't sell mattresses. That's one thing I think we need to start really looking at. We don't sell mattresses, we sell sleep systems. And here's like, you got to make this your own. I like to use it. It's kind of fun for me. They're like, well, how much is a pillow? I'll be like, well, we don't. And they'll say, well, we don't really need 2 pillows. We'll just buy one. I'm like, totally cool with that. If you just want to get one, but just to let you know, they're only $4 a month, and you all can argue on who's going to get the better neck support, but don't call me if you don't have the better pillow and you're not sleeping as good. So it's only $4 a month. And then they'll be like, oh, for only $4 a month, we'll take 2. And you're like, good call.
The first time I heard that, Brent, was in Justin Trumbo's penthouse. What was that? 2 summers ago or 3 summers ago?
2 summers ago in Vegas market.
That was, and so guys, you got to realize I barely knew Brent. A bunch of people spoke that day, and some really great speakers. Scott
absolutely
spoke there. A lot of really great. Bob Munkle spoke there. And there's 2 rules in speaking: never speak after lunch and never be the last speaker. Brent was the last speaker, and I got up to leave, and I couldn't leave because what he was saying was so compelling and so funny and so well done. And this thing that he does, using humor in his sales process, is intentional. It's on purpose. And if for some crazy reason they don't buy from you, they're going to remember you because you're the one salesperson who actually connected to them on a human level, and making jokes about for $4 a month, you want to argue over who gets a pillow. I mean, it is so good. Fawad, do you want to critique our friend here and add to it?
No, not critique. I wanted to add something. So Atlanta Research had this thing that they shared with us recently, that a customer who purchases, we're using their own money, like their credit card and everything, for a primary bedroom. So a primary mattress, an average ticket in a specialty store or a furniture store is $1,487. Okay. But that same customer, if they use their money as a credit card, but the same and the people that used financing, that same purchase was $2,216. So you want to give yourself a raise from $1,487 to $20,000? That's a big number. So, it's always like, I'm a big proponent of financing, and if a customer cannot afford primary, like, they're not 750, 700 where they can get Synchrony, Wells Fargo and stuff, you should have a secondary and tertiary options. Just if your state allows it, have your self-financing options. Like Brent says, just mention, hey, we have anything from 60 months, 0 interest financing to a 90 days, no credit needed program, and everything in the middle. That's because you don't know what that customer is at that journey. Where are they in their journey right now? And if you don't mention that you have 60 months, 0 interest, or you have no credit needed program, and they happen to be either one of those customers, you're gonna try to realize, like, man, I did such a good presentation. They really liked me. I thought I made a connection and everything was good, but why did they walk? Well, because they were too embarrassed to tell you that they can't pay this $4,300 up front, or they will not get approved for your 60 months no interest financing because they know that their credit's shot. So financing is a big thing. You have to bring it in. You have to bring it up a couple of times. Don't be afraid to just ask a question. If they don't tell you up front, hey, how's your credit? That simple question, how's your credit, will help you not waste an hour and a half of your time this weekend, because you don't want to waste the time with the customer to figure out that they weren't going to get approved. Okay?
Yeah.
Because the person that has great credit will tell you in a conversation that you don't have to worry about it. And a person who's a little shy on their credit, if you bring it up, they'll tiptoe around. Do you have Progressive or a SEMA or a SNAP or something like that?
Yep.
But you have to have options for all three of them, is what I'm saying. There's that middle customer also that a lot of us think that doesn't exist.
Guys, we're over. We got to wrap this up. Thank you so much, everybody. Marnie, thank you for holding on, because we lost our other companions. I think Ray and Blake are getting customers, so that was super. Does anybody want to say anything before we say goodbye to everybody?
I would say enjoy, have a great weekend. This is why you do what you do. We have a lot of great holidays, but this one's special. Enjoy it. There's going to be a lot of hours put in this weekend. And remember this: budgets are not made during store hours. I know it just breaks my heart saying that, but if you look back at some of those records that you had last year, the year before, a lot of times they're written at 9:05, 9:30 at night. It just happens. But I wish you all the best. Enjoy it, have fun, and take care of customers.
Happy Labor Day, everybody. And thank you guys so much for being here. Let's go out, have fun, and sell a million. Thanks.
Smile.